Heyo everybody, Haku here in a tiny box. This might not be the best setup, but either way, with a kind of, hopefully maybe kind of small video for you all for Tower of God, just to give you some kind of Tower of God something here. We're going to talk about the character poll, but I messed with the settings and changed the settings so that you only get one vote per person. Now, 3,416 people, I think was the number, voted in the character poll. If you haven't already, you should go probably see the full results first, but I thought this would just be another neat thing. Now, statistically, gotta give you some warnings. This counts the last vote that each person made. So every person, all 3,000 some that made a vote here, count as one person, one vote, and it only counts the last one you made. So it is, again, not the best statistically, because let's say somebody made 3 votes and they voted who they really liked twice and then voted somebody else a third time. Well, we're seeing the somebody else. Same thing if somebody voted like 90 times over the 30-day period or whatever, over the month. So I thought it'd be neat though. We'll have a much smaller number, but to show you the top 100 kind of by, if everybody only got one vote, who had the most unique voters? Who had the most, like, variety of voters instead of just one person voting multiple times for the same character? And from there, we'll see what the top 100 looks like and talk about that just a teeny little bit. And I just thought it'd be neat. I thought it'd be neat to give you a little something else. So let me just show you what we got here. This is technically the top 104 because of the big tie with everybody who had 6 different people who voted for these. So again, more people could have voted for these characters. This is just, again, if everybody here only got one vote and it was only their last vote. So at least 6 different people voted for I and for Paul. Basically, that's how it works. So 6 different people voted for I, Paul, Chang, Kun, Data Kiseya, Data Marco Asensio, and Real Marco Asensio. So both of them each had 6 people that were just pulling for them. Hasacha, who was ranked really highly, I think, but only 6 different people voted for Hasacha, which means that the Hasacha voters that there were voting multiple times for Hasacha, you know. They were putting in their 3 votes a day for Hasacha. You got Kirin here and Lorray, who wasn't by, like, vote mass, by vote number. Lorray wasn't in the top 100, but he makes it here now, and here we have Goseng, who was just a little in the top 100, I think, and this is sort of our cutoff there. Now for people who had 7 different people voting for them, you've got Anaxahard the daughter, so again, only 7 different people that we know of. Again, it could have been more. Anak just wasn't their last vote, but it's interesting to see when you take away the voting multiple times for a character, where they sort of filter in. So Anak, still pretty lowly rated, even by these metrics. Then the Astronaut Revolution member would make it in here. Jumbo had 7 different people. Hayura, Grace Arlen, Mule Love, Paracule, all with 7. Moving into those who had 8, you had Doom, Daniel, Data Macheni, Data Zahard, who I don't think Data Macheni or Data Zahard made the top 100, so by different voters, by different people voting for them, they would have. Eurasia Blossoms here, Evan Edrock, Muntari, Novik, Rowan, Roku. So Roku was kind of spread out. Roku, if we only had 1 vote per person and it was like this, would be even higher. Then Shibisu's there as well. People with 9 different people voting for him. You got Eurasia N, Laura, Wangnan's weapon. Wild. This is just insane to me. And another thing where I think, okay, these statistics aren't the perfect judge, is I'm pretty sure the voters, this wouldn't have affected the main, like, actual results, but the way that the voters were counted was based on IP and device. So if it was the same IP and the same device, that was a voter ID. But if somebody had, say, a VPN that was giving them a different IP every day, then that would count, like if they voted 9 different days, it'd be their last vote for each of those 9 days, and maybe it was the same person, but maybe it was just 9 different people. And that's something that, again, wouldn't have affected the real results because I was looking at the real results and paying attention. So if like 3 dozen votes for the same character came in back to back to back, where it was just 3 and then 3 and then 3 and then 3, then it'd be like, okay, either a bunch of people got together and voted one after another, or it's just the same person like changing where they are on a VPN and spam voting. So it's something that wouldn't have been a problem in the main poll because I could see it happening if it was sketchy, and like go against that. So if it is the same person voting 9 different days here, it would have been on 9 completely different days. So it would have been the same as if they had just voted normally. They did just vote normally, if you get what I mean. And then Misang as well is here. Mate actually had 10 different people, same with Sophia Tan, Ari Bright Sharon, Albelda, and Maria, as well as Jam Jam, Nen Nen, Racksworn Enemy having 11. That's the one that makes me think maybe it was somebody voting. Again, I could make sure they weren't spam voting, but maybe somebody voting on 11 different days with 11 different IPs. Then we have Head On with 12 people, Lilial with 12, Prince with 12, which would have put Prince kind of highly here. I don't know where exactly we'd be. Let me count it out really quick. The 12 votes would be 62nd place. So Prince, Lilial, and Head On would be tied for 62nd. Then I guess the tie for 59th would be, I'm sure I'm going to do the math wrong at one point, so forgive me this video. 59th would be Isas, Cobalt, and Vicente. Isas would be really high up. A bunch of different people there in the last few days said, oh, let me throw in a vote here for Isas. And then that would be 56th. 56th place would be Iniesta, Gitang, and Calavan with 14. And then 54th would be Pakoko and Aria at 15. 52nd would be Suo and Kun Masheni with 16 people voting for them. So Kun Masheni would be higher? I don't remember where Masheni was exactly. I guess not too much higher. One thing that I noticed with comparing the votes this way to the way the votes really ended up is they're really not all that different. So giving people multiple votes really helped expand the numbers, but the places are mostly not that insanely different outside of meme characters doing less well. Pakoko would have done quite well here, though, if we count different people throwing in Pakoko votes. So I said Suo was 52nd, right? So that means 47th. So 47th getting into the top 50 then was right where like Hema Slime and Yama were. Yama was like just within the top 50. I think he was actually like 41 or something, so maybe I'm wrong. And Hema Slime was 51st place. So you got like Yama, Hockney, Hema Slime, Dizzy, and Lafav. Again, that was kind of near where they were in the actual poll. And then that means 45th place would be Kun Edwan and Hatsu. Again, they were kind of around here. Crane, though, was at 31st and would be dropping down from 31st to... 44, 32. So 42nd place would be Crane, Garam, and Akraptor. So again, people putting in multiple votes for like the meme characters kind of inflated them a bit. So the meme characters end up going a bit lower. Then in 40th place, you would have Dumas and Lobadan. And that's crazy. For Dumas and Lobadan, again, being kind of the Pobedao and Lopobia equivalents to one another, having the same amount of people, both have 22 people voting for them here. That's really neat. 39th then would be Duan. 37th would be Leroro and Black March. Then 35th would be Jaja and Shiliel. So again, Jaja had multiple people voting for her. To push her up a bit to like, what was she, like 30th? I think, yeah, she was 30th, but by voters, she'd be 35th, so still around the same. Shiliel, I think, was also around here when it came to vote totals. 34th, then, if I didn't lose count, was Enryu. 32nd would be Yusracha and Cha with the same amount of people. So Yusracha got to move up a little bit higher when we're counting multiple people voting for him. that means that 30th place would be V and Jinsung, both in 30th with each other. 29th would be Amazu. Then 28th would be Leviathan. So again, 31 people putting in a vote for Leviathan is crazy. Still Leviathan being 28th. It is nuts that Leviathan is so high. Then that'd mean 26th. Unless I lost count, 26th is Karaka and Evankel. And okay, I didn't lose count. 25th would be Yuan Sung by this metric. So Yuan Sung, 36 different people would have been top 25 here. Then Yirang would have been 24. Dan would have been 23. 22 is Tiara. 20 again. Gastang's still not making top 20. Gastang and Ron would have been tied for 21st if we're counting just one vote per person. Then getting into the top 20, Rack would have been down from 16th into 20th without people voting multiple times for him. So Rack would have been in 20th. Zahard still extremely high. Zahard would have been in 19th. So he had a lot of people voting for him. 18th then would be White, and actually 17th, the tie between White and Perditi. So Perditi still a lot of different people voting, which is insane. Again, this is making me think that some of the way that this is counted might have been like one person with a different IP each day or something. Because again, I could make sure that they weren't cheating and posting more than allotted in a day's time, but they could have counted as a different voter each day depending on how the system counted them. And then that would be 15th would be Yiwa, so she would drop from, she was in 11th, I think, without people voting multiple times. She would have gone from 11th to 15th. And this is something that I was saying. So tied for 13th would have been Hugo and Bellerir with 57 people voting for them. I said when I did the main results that Bellerir in 7th is pretty insane, but I still think he would have done pretty well even without people meme voting. So again, even without people voting multiple times per day, Bellerir still would have been 13th. So he wouldn't have been top 10, but he still would have been very high up here. Same with Hugo. Then Adori and Elaine would have been in 11th, just outside of the top 10, with 60 each. And then getting into the top 10, your top 10, if people only had one vote, and we're only counting the last vote, 10th place would have been Yurik. So instead of 23rd, Yurik would have made the top 10 here. So Yurik would have been there. And then in 9th place, you would have had Luzlek. So Luzlek still getting the win over Yurik. Luzlek would have been in top 10 if they only had one vote each. 8th place would have been Wangnan, and 7th Rachel with 86 people and 101 people for each of them. So even without multiple votes a day, they still would have been this high. That was 8th and 7th. 6th would have been Waryun if you don't get to vote multiple times. In top 5, Kuhn would have still been in the top 5 here, and Andorthy wouldn't have won. She would have been in 4th. So Kuhn with 134 and Andorthy with 137. And then your top 3, if you were to, again, only have one vote a person, would have been Bomb in 3rd place. So Bomb still doesn't win, main character, 154th, but rather than being, was he 6th? Yeah, I think he was 6th outside of the top 5. He would have been in the top 5 here. He would have been in the top 3. And Traumare would have maintained his 2nd place. So votes overall, Traumare 2nd place. If you count individual people voting, Traumare still would have been 2nd place with 189. And this one, actually, if you only got one vote per person, Yuri would have been the person who had the most different people voting for. Yuri wins by this metric, 190th. Again, this isn't a perfect thing because it's only counting people's last vote, and if people knew they only had one vote, the votes could have gone differently. But I thought it'd be neat to look at this kind of statistic to see what the variety was, like how many people were as high as they were because they had people voting for them multiple times, and how many people had different people voting for them. So Mazano was only in 23rd, but if you count different people voting for him, he's in 9th, or he's in 10th. So that means that he didn't have a lot of people voting multiple times for him. They were voting for other characters too, or they were just people throwing one-off votes, but he had a wide amount of people voting for him. And when taking away the ability to vote multiple times, and Dorothy drops out of first, but Yuri moves up to first. So again, stuff like that I just thought would be interesting, and I wanted to do a little bit of Tower of God something. Just because over the course of this hiatus, I'm still going to be doing some Tower of God stuff occasionally, but not a ton. Like, I just saw a video, if you haven't seen Naya Hemming's big discussion with a lot of the big Tower of God creators, I think that was an incredibly good stream, so please go watch the VOD of that. I think it was really good. But he recently did a video looking back on it and talking about, you know, wanting more collaboration between Tower of God YouTubers. And while I would love to do that, if any other Tower of God creator ever wants me, I've really made it clear. It's like, just ask and I'll do everything I can to be there. But when it comes to making my own stuff, I have fallen through on plans a lot of times in the past where I try to plan stuff with people, but it's me. My schedule isn't good for it, or I have an idea for something and I don't get the idea to come to fruition in time, and the story, because we weren't on hiatus, kind of moved past it, and I was like, well, now there's no point in doing the collab now. So really, I have been bad at planning collabs in the past, whereas Naya's done crazy work to get everybody together. And also, I don't really have a lot of good ideas for collabs, me personally. And when it comes to this Tower of God hiatus, like I said, I'll do some, like, you won't be left completely without Tower of God. I'll do something every now and again, even if it's something small, but I'm not gonna really be focusing on Tower of God, because I've said since 2016, for nearly 10 years now since I started making videos, Tower of God was the first thing that I made a video on when it comes to the way I do the channel now. I was inspired by people who made like reactions and reviews to One Piece and stuff. And I'm like, it would be so nice if people made videos, because nobody was making videos about Tower of God. And I was kind of the first. I was like, it'd be nice if people made videos like that about Tower of God, but nobody is. So I'll do it. I'll do it myself. And I started doing this so that somebody was talking about Tower of God, at least. But now there are a lot of people who talk about it. Now there's more people. And I've said from the beginning that though I started with Tower of God, and though it's a big part of the channel, I've done a lot of big Tower of God projects like this character poll. I don't want to be Tower of God guy. Like I don't want to just do Tower of God. I don't want to just be Tower of God. There's so many things I want to talk about. I want to talk about other webtoons now that we're doing ORV and Kubera, and there are some other things that I am planning to start. And I want to do anime videos. I want to do manga videos. I want to do videos on games here and there. There's so much more that I want to do other than just Tower of God. So now that we're not on hiatus, now that I'm not doing a reaction every week, I will still do some Tower of God projects, but I've got so much else that I want to do too. So there are plenty of people to watch if you just want Tower of God, but if you want Tower of God, stick around. But also if you want variety, stick around, because I don't want to just do and be Tower of God. I want to have variety. So that's my difference. So if you see me in other people's collabs, or keep an eye out for more Tower of God stuff, there will be more, and I'm always happy to do other people's collabs. I'm just not sure about planning my own collabs. If I have a really good idea, I will, but I'm bad at it. I'm very much bad at it. But I'm going to be focusing while we're on hiatus on more than Tower of God. So with that aside, going to end this video here. Thank you for sticking through it. Thank you for watching. Like if you did like the video. Comment down there to tell me what you thought of this video, these results, my thoughts and all that. I don't really know what to say here at the end. Tell me what you think. If you want to talk in the comments, we can talk. If you want to talk on Discord, we can talk. The server's free and open for anyone. You just got to ask to get a link. Then if you want to talk in the comments, we can. Want to talk on Twitter, we can. I'm pretty open. Then If you want to help support the channel by dropping a super thanks or by sharing this video around, sharing things I think is probably extremely helpful. And of course, dropping a super thanks is incredibly appreciated. But if you want to support and also get One Piece videos early and get your name at the end of videos, get at least a tiny little something back other than just my thanks and gratitude and continued content, then you can hit join down below to become a member, or go to patreon.com/HakuOfTheTubes. Our link will be in the description to become a patron. Thank you to people who are already supporting this way, who are already patrons and members. Thank you to chosen regulars Evan Hawley and Bertie Wooster, to Magical Girls, Effort Nono, J.A. and the D-Van, to Cheriton students David Linkstaff and Folded Ghoul, to Slayer candidates SG and Stan Cedar, and to Pure Elements, Pate Ariel, and Elsa the Storyteller. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all next time.